There are a couple of, or maybe even more than a couple, there are some New Zealand icons that are here in Australia, and New Zealand wants them back. Not including television producers, unfortunately. What they want back is some film. And please welcome Jane Paul, who's the coordinator of the last film search. Nice to meet you. Welcome.
Thank you. My full name is Louisa Jane Paul, and I was born in Hamilton on the 19th of January in 1958. Because I had two little kids, I was at home in the mornings and used to listen to the radio, and Sharon Crosby always had Jonathan Dennis on, as a frequent commentator on what he was up to in the Film Archive. And I found it all really interesting. I found it really exciting, and he was a good talker.
And what do you remember of the interview itself? Did Jonathan Dennis do the interview?
Yeah. I remember that Jonathan was, he was sort of amazing looking, with these turquoise glasses and just very flamboyant. And I remember him talking. I remember him saying, don't expect this to be a career job. I said, that's all right, yeah. I got my screen printing to do and da-da-da. And there was some nitrate, and he talked about the nitrate film. It might have been something like Bush Cinderella or whatever. Yeah. And I just thought it was fantastic. Yeah.
Looking for?
Right. Well, we're looking for New Zealand films, or films of New Zealand from way back. And the Last Film Search project has been going on in New Zealand since 1992, and it's been immensely successful.
Right.
We feel like there's a lot of films that would have been brought from New Zealand, and a lot of travel between the two countries.
This piece we're looking at now is quite phenomenal. This is Normie Rowe. This is made back in the 60s. Don't Let It Get You, I think it was called. What's the history of that, Jane?
Right. Well, it's made by John O'Shea from Pacific Films, filmed both in Sydney and in Rotorua.
Yep.
And it's a wonderful sort of pop musical with a lot of Australian actors and a New Zealand cast too, including Sir Howard Morrison.
Yes.
And
Normie Rowe around.
And Normie Rowe, yeah.
So, and where was that found?
Well, that was actually held by Pacific Films. I mean, they're one of the few companies that actually looked after their material, because there's sort of tragic examples of filmmakers not preserving their own material.
But it was Wendy who really kind of told me what to do. And in lots of ways it's really quite straightforward. That you repaired splices and fixed perforations with little tape.
And it was nitrate mainly you were dealing with?
It was exclusively nitrate.
Exclusively?
Yeah.
Which must have been really exciting.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And it was partly, I think it was exciting too, because when you think of the nitrate film, because it's, it's an inch and a bit wide, you can kind of see a bit more of the images than if you're working with a really small gauge. Yeah. And I mean, I think it's probably easier to repair as well. It's got that nice smell, Yeah. And once you finish repairing the film, putting on the leaders and things, then you do the work orders, and it will be sent down to the laboratory and printed and processed, and then you'd get to go to the quality control screening where you judged the result, in relation to the original, which was kind of like very much sort of, again, learning on the job.
This is amazing. It came into the Film Archive during the search a couple of years ago.
There's Terry from staging in the crowd too.
Right.
He loves his sport.
It was found in a Christchurch garage.
Really?
Yeah. And the family who brought it in weren't quite sure of its history.
Right.
Mr. Batchelor had owned it, and possibly he'd picked it up from a tip or...
People who've just tuned in, yes, we did cover Tony Lockett yesterday and his record Kick and Goal. Can I ask you, Jane, if anyone's got some footage that they think would interest you, what do they do?
Right, well, we're here in Melbourne for this week, and then in Sydney, based at the National Film and Sound Archive offices.
Yep. And Sydney next week.
Next week,
Right.
yeah. And we just want people to contact us if they do have films. And I mean, we're really interested in all sorts of films, you know, whether they're documentaries or home movies.
An opportunity for people to really make a presentation to a worthwhile situation, because, and also time would be running out, because a lot of the film that may be hanging around garages and up in lofts and things, it won't last.
That's
will it,
right. I mean,
forever?
film is delicate, it's easily damaged, and it can break down, you know.
Okay, so National Film and Sound Archives this week in Melbourne and then next week in Sydney. Good luck with the continuing search. It's been a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Jane. Jane Paul, coordinator of the last film search.
As well, you kind of couldn't help but become interested in the filmmakers themselves, I suppose.
Yeah.
And
I
the
think
kind of
that's
the
right.
context of the film.
Yeah.
So is that a case of what kind of happened that you just spare time researching?
And not in a sort of very formal way in those first few years. But it's quite right. I mean, like, I'd heard about Rudolf Hayward, but hadn't really seen anything much of his stuff. But, you know, the first feature that I got to repair was Bush Cinderella. And, you know, I was really interested in the fact that this was like one of the first features that Hayward had made, and you know, it was beautifully coloured, and yeah.
Did you have much sense of there being a although only fledgling, but a film industry in New Zealand really before you'd worked at the Film Archive?
No, I don't think so. Yeah. I mean, I'd have heard of Hayward, and I'd probably have heard of Pacific Films, and I've known a bit about the film unit, but only a little bit. Yeah. So it was sort of revelation, really. Yeah.
But the New Zealand Film Archives is still hoping to find Patsy of Palmerston, Winifred of Wanganui and 20 other titles.
We've tracked down a bit of Betsy of Blenheim, which was another Lee Hill film made in 1928. Yeah, we're very anxious to be able to track down any more of the movies and also any more of the stars, because they've got such great stories to tell.
I'd like to give you this, Selma, to commemorate the screening of Mary of Martin in Palmerston North tonight.
Goodness me, that's lovely.
Display boards about the Film Archive and about nitrate film, and we had a loop of material relating to the Wairarapa, which we showed on a telly, and we had a desk and brochures and phone, and we'd ring people up, say, we've heard that you have some old film, and we get people to bring stuff down. And it was interesting in those film searches. A lot of the information came through the local bank staff.
Really?
Believe it or not, yeah. And especially in little towns where the staff are locals and have been there for a long time, they know who's who. You know, they'll know who was the projectionist or who used to run the theatre or whatever. So, and then you go to the picture theatre and you talk to those people, and they know people. And then you talk to the local historians, and, you know, you go to the auction houses and they know who the collectors are. So, I mean, you just get this kind of...
But like a
group.
detective.
Yeah. And most people didn't mind being rung up, and, you know, I mean, we weren't saying you have to do, you know, have to give us the stuff. And at the best, we'd go around and have a cup of tea, and, you know, they'd show us all these amazing things. Yeah, that's right. There was a sort of 6-week thing beforehand where you did all that kind of research and you talked to all those people. Then you gathered all their names and you invited them to the screening, where you'd give them, you know, nice food and liquor. And you also put on a public screening, which you'd advertise really well.
Yeah.
So you'd have 2 screenings in one night. Then you'd have a week or so in the district, people coming in with films or you going to visit them, and then take the stuff back to Wellington, go through it, get some of it preserved, copied, and then show those films back in the district within 6 months.
Within 6 months?
Yeah.
Guys,
New Zealand Film Archive staff hope that in discovering old clips, they'll extract many more stars of yesteryear from modern-day obscurity and preserve precious glimpses of our heritage. Fenna Owen, 3 National News.